Hello, it's Katie from Little Lemon Stitches, and today we are making this super cute, super spooky spiderweb coaster. Before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps me and my channel. Today, I am going to teach you how to make these spiderweb crochet coasters. You can also make them bigger or use them as doilies, whatever strikes your fancy, but I love these guys. They look really good on a cup, and actually I should probably go run and get one to show you what they look like on a cup so you can see that they still have that little spiderwebby effect. Okay, so from this angle, and I'll show another one later, you can see it still has that little spider webby effect. I will tell you when you do this, it's going to be pretty rounded, but the way that I achieve, and I need to fix that one, the way I achieve more of the spider web indentions here is through blocking. So I'll talk to you about blocking and show you a couple ways that you could do it even if you don't have a ton of fancy blocking materials. Okay, so starting off, I have this cream colored yarn. You can use white, you can use black, you can use gray. I'm actually probably going to use black next time, but cream is what I've been sticking with for a while. I use cotton. You don't want to use acrylic, especially if it's going to be used for something hot, because it'll melt and mess up the shape. I also have a 4mm hook and then some scissors. I do not use a stitch marker for this. You do not need to worry about gauge swatching. This is really all you need. I make my spider webs with taller stitches. You guys are going to hear Mochi today. He is watching lizards from the window. So I use a triple crochet in US terms, and that is what gives it sort of this longer stitch in between. Now you can do half double crochet, you can do double crochet. I wouldn't do single crochet, but anything that's on the slightly taller end, it'll just make it more compact if you do a smaller stitch. So just in case you do not know how to do a triple crochet, you're going to make a slip knot. I keep this a little loose while we're doing our practice so you can put it in. So let's see, I just have 4 chains. So to do a triple crochet, we are going to wrap around once, wrap around twice, and then insert it in. I'm just going to go to the very first one here. So you are going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 loops on the hook. We are going to yarn over and pull through 2. Then you're going to yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over, pull through 2. So let's do that one again. You are going to yarn over twice, so once, twice, and put it into the stitch you desire. You'll have 4 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So you're just basically yarning over, pulling through 3 times, hence the triple. And this is what it will look like. For this particular project, I don't like to do a magic ring. I just like to keep things a little loose. So I'm going to chain 1 and 2, 3, 4. Actually, let's go ahead and chain 5. I am doing this pattern from memory with you guys today, so normally I have it written down, but it's in my ADHD brain, so best of luck to us all. So we are going to be working stitches into this very first chain, and they're all going to be triple. So I'm going to yarn over twice, insert it in the first chain, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Then I'm going to chain 1, yarn over twice, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through, whoa. Hold please as I salvage this. All right, pull through 2. So you're going to do that until you have 10 total, and this first, this part of the chain is going to count toward that total. So I have 3. So just keep working until you get 10 and meet me back when you are done. Once you get to this point, then you are going to chain 1. You're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain. So let's see, 1, 2, 3. So for me, that's the top of the 3rd, so that we have that space still. And this is what yours should look like, or look something like this. This is our middle portion. Next, we are going to chain, let's do 3 for the triple height. And that counts as our first triple crochet, our first stitch. So now I am going to add 2 to the total that we chained between these. So that is going to be 3. So I'm going to chain 3. So total on this first one is going to be 6, just because it's also going to give us our first triple crochet. So now I am going to do a triple crochet into the top of the one from the previous row. All right, so then I am going to chain 3 again to give us that spidery chain space, and then triple crochet into the next one. So we're skipping those chain spaces. Let's find my example. And then we're just adding on and building bigger space between each gap. I don't know if that made sense. So basically it's like a diagonal line, but the space between them is just getting bigger. So you are going to do this for all of the triple crochets on the previous row. So when you get to the end, like last time, just join me there. But this is what it's going to start looking like. When you get to this point and you have 10, then you are going to chain 3 and then slip stitch to the top again. So 1, 2, 3. Ooh, okay. It's gonna look like this. For me, sometimes mine are a little wobbly, but this is why I block it. Especially if your tension is a little, hi Mochi, is a little on the tighter end, and you're not very loosey-goosey. That's okay, because you can make up for a multitude of sins when you block. We have to do our 3 chains. 1, 2, 3. And then the last one was 3. If we add 2, it's going to be 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to do the same thing with one little difference here. So if you see, we are now to this point right here. And then we're about to do this section, which has a, good gravy, y'all, I can never pronounce it. I'll put it right here. It has the stitch where you do the chain and then you do the slip stitch. And I'm gonna make myself look like a Dumbo, but that's okay, because I love you guys. So we are going to triple crochet, put it into the next triple crochet. All right, and then here is where we're gonna get our little end. So I'm gonna chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to slip stitch into the first chain I made. that's how we make the little points. So now I'm going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to triple crochet into the next one. Y'all, I hear Mochi eating something in the background, and I do not know what it is. Okay. Then we are going to chain 3, single crochet into the first of those chains, and then you have that little point again. So chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, triple crochet. Oh, I'm distracted by Mochi eating something I'm gonna have to take away from him. And then you do 1, 2, 3, slip stitch, and you just keep doing that all the way around. If you notice one of your little lines doesn't line up perfectly, you can just embrace the differences there, or you can go back and fix it. I just sort of fix it with blocking, but I also don't mind if they all look a little different. I kind of think that's the beauty of it, and just spider webs in general. So do whatever your heart desires, but meet me back after you have done all of those until you get right to the point where you're about to slip stitch. By the way, Mochi was eating goldfish. Not real goldfish, but goldfish that my kids left out. But now he's back to watching lizards from the window. So hopefully no more of that. Okay, so now we're going to chain 5. And slip stitch. 1, 2, 3. All right, so now I'll chain 3, slip stitch in just like the others. And so that, mine always looks a little weird up at the top, but I just correct that when I weave my ends. So to close this, I pull my thread through my slip knot. And I just kind of hold on to this guy as I pull. Okay, so next we'll weave our ends, and then I'm going to show you how I block this to make it look more spider webby. So this is the before, this is the after. I just want to show you guys my trusty yarn needle. Look how bent that is. I've had it for at least a year or two. I've had this thing for a long time, which is wild because I lose things very frequently. No, Mochi, you cannot have more goldfish. So sorry. Okay, so for the middle, the beginning tail, I just kind of loop it around this middle portion until I feel like it's not going to slip out. All right, then we snip it. For this one, it takes a little more work because you have to get all the way down to the middle, or I like to, and then you have this like loose end, kind of. I don't know if that's focused for you. This loose end. So first thing I do is go directly back into that first stitch. And then I just weave down until I get to the bottom. And if you're still not happy with like how big that is, like I think my tension was just a little too loose, you can always like work back up and pin it down. First, I start off by pinning the little, are these nubs? I don't know. What do you want to call them? These little dots on the end of the spider web. We're going to pin those first and then work from there. I want to make sure you can tell I am really stretching this out. So I'm pulling and I go back and I fix a few if I need to. I'm using the bigger needles to make sure we get a good stretch. So I'm gonna fix that, bring it a little more out. And now you can see these spaces have opened up. Next, I'm gonna use, you can use whatever size you want, but I'm gonna use my smaller needles to make these bent. Now you don't want to go from the side, you want to come from the top and push it down. So I only do this on the top layer, or the outer edge, I'm sorry. So go around and do that. So I will say the further in you push it, the more it's gonna stay. Just like the longer you leave it, the longer or the better the angles are gonna be. If you really wanted to, you could always do this with the inner portions as well. I just find most of the time, as long as the outer edge looks like a spider web, it has those little rounded areas and the points, that it doesn't really make a difference. So I do this and then I spray it with starch and then I iron it. So this is the starch that I use. I'll link that for you if you want it. I got it in a 2-pack and I just soak the spider web. So that's why you see all the little spider webs along. And sometimes, like the last time I did this, I did it 2 times. So like I sprayed it, I let it sit, I sprayed it again, and then I ironed it. So the longer you let it sit, the better it's gonna look. Hi, Mochi. So my iron is not on, but I wanna show you how I iron the little points to make sure they crease. So I'm gonna take some of this off. Blech. Okay, so when I go to iron this, I will like push this down. It's not gonna look perfect. And then I iron it. So it will maintain the shape. But sometimes you'll notice some of the edges are still a little more rounded than you might like. And so make sure you're using the iron to your advantage. Obviously don't iron your fingers like I'm showing you right now, but you'll be able to push it down and then push the iron straight flat on it to maintain that shape. I hope that your coaster turned out well. Please tag me so I can see, or email me so I can see your amazing work. I also would encourage you to like and subscribe, especially if you like this tutorial. There is more spooky stuff to come.